been told support's going to end. You got to move somewhere else. And your options we've been providing are QuickBooks Online, which is a direct migration. And we've also been talking in depth about the migration to Zoho, Zoho Books, Zoho Finance, and Zoho One. In this video, we're going to look through several other choices that you, as the desktop user, may be thinking about. And I'm going to introduce Ann Jaggert, who is the president of Breakthrough Solutions, and tell us about some of the options people have.
Hi, Glenn. Yes, there are quite a few options if you want to move from QuickBooks Desktop. We've talked a lot in this series about QuickBooks Online and Zoho, but there is also Sage 50. It was formerly known as the Peachtree product. It's owned by Sage now. They purchased it, and it's a pretty solid product. We've used it before. It's pretty good too with inventory. There's also Xero, which is a product out of New Zealand that's cloud-based. I think it's a very well-designed product. We have extensively used it with our clients, and they call it beautiful accounting. And by beautiful accounting, they mean that it's really simple, clean, intuitive. It has some really smart approaches to how to categorize and reconcile data. So it's a very good accounting package. But I would say Sage 50 is something that's really on par with a QuickBooks, QuickBooks Desktop, QuickBooks Online, Zoho. Xero, I think if you start to scale up and you have a lot of transaction volumes, Xero might not be the strongest product. Super easy to implement, but not so robust if you have a lot of transaction volume. And then, Glenn, did you want to talk about FreshBooks and Wave?
Yes, absolutely. Let me just pull up my screen here, because as the Canadian part of this team, I'm going to talk about the two Canadian software packages that are available online. I am now enabled, and we are now looking at, so the first thing I'm going to talk about here is Wave Accounting, and it is a Canadian-based software. Their head office is in Toronto, which means they're used to serving the North American market. We're now in the times where it doesn't matter, Canada and the States. Yes, they have different ways of doing business. Most companies handle both, and Wave would handle American companies. It's $20 per month per user. That's in Canadian dollars. I think if you apply the conversion, you're paying about $15 per user. And I would suggest this is more for your smaller companies. You know, if you have 5 users that are doing your accounting and you're paying $20 a piece, that's $100 a month. That's a good accounting solution. Wave is simple. It does basic simplified invoicing, billing. Expense entry is just, you know, the one-line entry. You're not collecting expenses, you're keying them in yourself. Where they really make their money is in the receiving payments. The Wave Accounting, as a small business, you sign up with them, you can invoice, and people can pay with their credit card to Wave Accounting, and Wave takes 2.9% and gives you the rest. So they do provide a service for the smaller type company that may want to move away from the QuickBooks solution. Wave will handle that. The other one here I'm going to share is called FreshBooks. And what a coincidence. They're in Canada. They're based out of Toronto. There's some very good, solid technical companies in Toronto, and FreshBooks is one of them. They've got 80 employees or something like that. Online accounting, again, it's very simple accounting, invoicing, billing, accounts receivables, etc. This charges $60 per month for the first person, and then $13 per month for anybody else. So if you had 5 users, you're paying 1 at 60 plus 4 at 13 is 52. You'd be paying $112 a month. Again, FreshBooks makes their money transferring the payments, acting as your collection service. So again, they're both what I would call simple solutions, low end for small companies that want someone else to handle their billing and invoicing. Those are choices that are less expensive than QuickBooks.
Agreed, Glenn. Yeah, I think if you're thinking about like it's a spectrum of software, and you want easier accounting software, FreshBooks and Wave would be really easy, but maybe a little too easy in that they're not really robust accounting solutions. So I tend to see them more for solo entrepreneurs. Xero is moving more in the direction. It's definitely a true accounting package, and it's more robust, but it is not going to be quite as robust as maybe a Sage 50 or a QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online. If you're really thinking about more of an enterprise package, there's of course is Zoho, which we've talked a lot about in this series, but there's also NetSuite. So in the past, I would not even mention NetSuite because it was really out of the realm of affordability for many of my clients. But what's happened is QuickBooks Desktop used to be fine for if you had many companies. So let's suppose you were like a real estate property management company, and you had 10 or 15 real estate properties, and each one of those had a separate business. So each business had to have a separate instance on QuickBooks Desktop. Well, great, you had one subscription, usually upgraded every 3 years. And boom, it was super cost-effective way of having 10, 15 businesses. Well, with all of the cloud-based solutions, you really need to have a separate company, and you're going to pay a separate fee for each company. So it can get really costly. And I have had some clients where if they have, 10 or 15 entities, and they're starting to look at NetSuite, and they're like, wow, this was really expensive. But it's not as expensive when you're really thinking about many companies, and you're thinking about a really long-term subscription, like several years. So it's worth looking at if you have lots of entities, but if you don't have a lot of entities and you're wanting more of an enterprise solution, I would definitely consider Zoho.
Yeah, so if I could just summarize for this video then, it really comes down to defining the unique needs and desires of each company. There's all kinds of different options. There's all kinds of different pathways. Some are smart in certain circumstances. Some are smarter in other circumstances. And basically, there's lots of choices, and Breakthrough Solutions is prepared to provide guidance.
Absolutely, we can help you with that. We've helped many clients with software selection, and really knowing more about what your business needs and what you want to create in the future with your business will help us to provide some recommendations for you to then explore further.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We're going to bring this video to a conclusion. I will ask anyone watching, press the subscribe button.